Reacting to drone crash videos, part 1. So you might be wondering, oh my gosh, Eric, are you kidding me? Why are you making a whole video on just drone crash videos? And so many other creators do this kind of thing. Well, those other creators just pretty much do funny voiceovers of all the crashes and all that stuff. I'm actually going to be doing a whole walkthrough of the stuff and giving lessons on the videos so that that kind of thing doesn't happen to you. So, first clip. Okay, so that guy was probably pretty experienced. He was flying around having a grand old time until bam, he hits the light pole. So what he was really doing is he wasn't paying attention to where he was flying. That's the one disadvantage to FPV, first person view, with FPV drones like that, where you don't exactly see everywhere where you're flying. So one thing that I would really say is kind of scope out where you're going to be flying before you do it, so that you can see those kinds of things before you crash into them. So, quick lesson for that clip is watch where you fly before you fly there. Alright, well then, so that person, he was probably pretty experienced, and he wanted to go a little bit farther than, I guess, what he could do super well. So he wanted to do this other kind of flip, death roll or whatever. As it says, actually right now, I still got the record going, it says, okay, the drone clearly malfunctioned as it went into a crazy death roll as I punched the throttle to come through that maneuver. So the guy was doing is he was trying to do this roll thing, this big loop, but what happened is the drone malfunctioned and it fell into the water. Really, there's nothing that he could have done about the malfunction. That's just something that happened with the drone. But the part that I'm kind of concerned about is that he was flying right at the water. I mean, I get he was probably trying to get some cool footage, but definitely it's way smarter not to fly near the water where you are more likely to fry your drone. So lesson for that clip, don't fly near water that much because stuff like that can happen and then your drone's done forever. Next clip. So that person that was flying, his mistake that he made in that video, or at least the video was trying to make, was that he wasn't watching where his drone was going. What he was doing is he was holding his controller and watching his first person view. That's another disadvantage to first person view. You don't see as much of what's around you. So he was watching his thing and he didn't look up to see the tree that he was flying right into. So a lesson for this clip is look up every once in a while to make sure that your drone isn't going to crash into anything. So, next clip.
Trying it FPV for the first time. I did a quick hover test and that was alright. Having some issues with the VTX, but I think I got it at least working now, so I might have to swap that out. But anyhow, here we go.
Okay, so he's a new flyer. He's going to take it up. Let's see what happens. Another guy flying there too. Oh snap. Well, that's unlucky. It's part unlucky and part not very smart. So it's unlucky that the other drone that the other guy was flying happened to be there right as this guy's brand new FPV quad comes and smashes it. So the thing that he wasn't really smart about was kind of looking around to make sure that he wasn't going to crash into anything. Like, you gotta look around with your surroundings to make sure that your drone isn't going to crash into anything, and that's one thing that the guy didn't do as well, because he was flying his drone back not thinking that anything was going to come around. Just pretty much be ready for anything bad that could pop up. Pretty much that. Not the best kind of lesson for this clip, but it's definitely a thing to think about it. Next clip. Great video. That guy was kind of just like two other clips that I was talking about, where you need to look up from your FPV every once in a while, make sure that there's not a tree behind where the drone is that it'll crash right into. Because, I mean, he was getting a really good shot. The video was going to look pretty good, but with that kind of thing, you just need to look up from your FPV really quick just to make sure your drone's not in line for anything bad. Next clip. Oh, no. It's not going to go over well. I just know it. Well, that person, let's just say he wasn't the smartest, where he brought his throttle down and crashed himself into the water. That definitely wasn't the smartest thing for him to do, but generally, like the second clip or the third clip or the first clip that I showed you, where the guy tried to do that flip and he landed off a cliff into the water, don't fly near water, especially when you're that close. Like, you don't want to risk it. Just don't risk it. So that's the lesson. Don't risk flying over water too much. Let's go. The lesson for that clip, just try and stay in range, especially with drones like that don't have fail-safe return to home. So lots of examples. That again, you want to look up, see your drone, make sure it doesn't crash into anything. Pretty nice music. Okay, so the problem with that guy is he was doing something that he wasn't really experienced with. So if you noticed in the clip, you could see the guy was watching his camera. There's a guy behind him, kind of probably impressed by the guy who's flying. But what he was doing is he's having the camera face towards him, and he was watching the drone and trying to fly it backwards. That's one thing that you need to be careful of, and you kind of need to be experienced with, because the left and the right and the front and the back controls are all opposite. Usually you forget that. So if you're that inexperienced, you kind of want to be careful. And of course, it's not a GPS drone, so the thing drifted, and you know, that happened. So the lesson for this clip is try not to fly with the camera facing you, and try and fly with what you're more comfortable with. Next clip. Whoa, alright. This will be the last clip right here. So, this guy, he's definitely pretty experienced. You can tell with the way he's flying. He was doing some nice good old turns, but the one mistake that he made was his loop. So what you kind of need to do with this is you kind of need to give yourself a little extra room with your loop. So he tried to make his loop very tight, and the result of that is crashing into a tree right at the very end. So at first he crashes into leaves because it's too tight, and then he's going way too fast and he didn't see the stump coming and he smashes right into it. So the lesson for that is pretty much look around to make sure that where you're planning to fly isn't a crash spot, because you can tell he definitely had no idea that stump was there. So what he could have done is he could have gone over and said, okay, so there's a stump there, so I'm going to plan to nudge right so that I don't crush right into that. So anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video of me reacting to drone crashes. But for my next drone crash reaction video, I want you guys to send me clips of crash videos, and I'll give my info in the description for that. So anyway, guys, I'll see you next time on Drones, Flights, and Reviews, and expect another post from me soon. Please like and subscribe the video, and yeah, see you guys.